All right, today is Saturday, August 26th. Time for another Buoy 10 update, and this is a little bit nostalgic. Staying back here at the Riverwalk, I got my customers who were kind enough to get me a room here for a couple nights so I could hang out with them. And I'm back here on a patio doing a Buoy 10 update. It's kind of fun. So, what happened today? Myself, Bill Monroe Jr., Josiah Dar, Brandon Glass, and many other people would all probably agree. Those are the guys that stay at our camp together. We talked this morning, and this is probably one of the best bites we've seen. I mean, these last 3 days have just been fantastic, but this is just memorable. And for me personally, Brandon had probably one of the best bites he's seen in his entire life, is what he said. For me, it wasn't anything wide open, but it was like every pass getting at least 4 to 10 grabs. It was just consistent. It was good. A lot of my buddies had all their Chinook by 7, 8 o'clock this morning. It was just one of those days where you could do no wrong. And if you landed on them, it was excellent. And if you didn't, you were grinding them out. And one of the moves that I made this morning, just because I know how many fish are down here because I've been down here the last few days. And so we stopped at the bridge on the Washington side, nosed in, and there was hardly anything on the graph. We got one, it was wild, we kicked it back, had another missed bite, saw a couple nets, but that's usually enough to keep me there. However, I know what we've seen the last 2-3 days. I know what my graph should look like, and so I boogied. We got back above the bridge, went up to what we call the humps on the sandbar, and for 100 some odd boats I didn't see any nets, so we made a move again. We jumped over to Shipwreck and looked over there at Shipwreck. And first pass through, I think we killed 3, let a couple go, missed a handful, others lost 1 or 2. Bingo, we found them, we're on them. And so we made 2 or 3 passes there, and shoot, we were catching them Chinook even all the way up in 12, 14 feet of water up on top of the sunken island and the shallows. It was good. It was very good. Guys were catching them on the Oregon side. Guys were catching them at the tanker troll. Most of the action today on both sides of the river was from bridge up. And I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow Tongue Point was a pretty good option as well. A lot of the fish are moving up. However, there are a lot of fish that were caught downstream around Baker Bay, Marker 1, Chinook, Ilwaco, Buoy 22, Buoy 20. And Bill Jr., who I mentioned earlier, was out in the ocean and did really well. So there's a new group of fish still on their way in. So if we're running out of the fish that we've been on the last 2-3 days up above the bridge, then the move might be to actually head back downriver and get in front of that new group that's coming in. And with yesterday's lightning, I know that back in the Portland area, it was torrential downpour. When that water comes, that rain comes, it can actually be really bad for us down here in the estuary because those fish smell it and they boogie. They're gone. They get out of here. So that group of fish that's been transitioning from salt to fresh, from cold water to warm water for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 days on that falling tide is probably ready to go back upstream. So there's a lot of fish on the way up to you guys that like to fish upriver. But that group of fish that we've been hammering on, they could be gone tomorrow. They may not even be at Tongue. So it's one of those things where I'm going to pull out of the marina tomorrow morning and I'm going to look at the current, and it's just one of those things where you flip a coin and go upstream or downstream. Do we go down and try and pick off the fish right in the first part of the push, down around Marker 1, or do we chase the fish that we've been pounding on the last 2-3 days and get up there around Tongue Point and try and find them up there somewhere? I don't know. But that's part of the fun of this fishery. There really isn't much as far as like gear, tackle, anything. Just when you were on fish that were snappy, and right there towards the end, we started seeing a bunch of fish, but the tide was changing, so the bite slowed. So the fish were all still there, but because the tide was changing and the currents were changing, the fish stopped being snappy, they slowed up, and there were a lot less fish being caught. So the best thing that you can do when you still see fish on the graph but they're not biting is just try and find a way to stay on them. Eventually the tide will flip, it will change, the currents will adjust enough where the fish will actually want to bite again. So it can be really good, even if you just wait it out and just try and... Hi Bella, what's up? Brandon's dog just came in. So just wait it out, wait for that tide to change up, let the currents change, and the fish will start biting again. But if you got a chance to get down here, tomorrow should be a good day before the closure on Monday, Tuesday in the estuary. That will make it an ocean only fishery. But by the way, that regulation change did go through, and so you can keep any coho and any Chinook out in the ocean off the mouth of Columbia right now. So you have options. Boy, what a day. It was incredible. It was fantastic. And what we ended up doing is, once we got all our Chinook, we actually had 3 coho as well. But we tried for coho for like 5 minutes. We doubled up on kings, and they were both wild. And at that point, no, we're done. We're not gonna be out there and just keep sore lipping and potentially killing wild fish that we're not able to keep. So we tried for coho for a little bit, but doubled up on kings. That's it. We're out. We're done. But I don't know. Oh, by the way, if any of you guys find a all gray Lamiglass rod that says Battle Glass on it, Brandon happened to have a little mishap today where a client had the rod slip out of his hand with a fish, so it was towing around a fish, and the fish had a rod behind it. So if you guys do see it out there, let us know, and I'll try and get that back to Brandon, because it's a little prototype rod that he's working on. So that's how good the bite was, how chaotic it was. Rods are flying out of people's hands. It was fun. It was a really, really good day. Oh boy, I love Buoy 10. Hopefully you guys get a chance to come down here and experience it. It is fun. People spend a lot of money to go up to Alaska, to go to British Columbia, to go to fisheries all around the world, and we have one right here in our own backyard that can be just memorable. It's fantastic. Hopefully tomorrow will be the same. Am I going to be upriver, downriver? No clue. You can go left, you can go right, and you're probably going to catch fish. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Later. Time to go have lunch, because we got off the water early. I'm going to go get some sushi and maybe a sake bomb to celebrate. Okay, later.